Good evening, everyone. This is Wayne, and this is the video version of the trade report for Tuesday, April 24th, 2018. Well, the markets lost their footing today, falling approximately 2% as interest rates went higher. And I've got a little surprise for you. Stay tuned to find out more. Greetings, everyone, and thank you once again for spending a little bit of your time with me as I go over the action and activity in the financial markets. We're just going to start right off with the S&P futures. In the overnight session, as you can see, we were kind of teased with a little bit of upside action. Began rolling over into the open, and as you can see, the rest is history. We basically just collapsed. Made a little bit of an attempt to go higher and then just kind of went back and forth into the close. And now in the extended session, we're trying to go a little bit higher, but wow, this market just absolutely gave it up today. Tried to get its groove back and just couldn't quite do it, so to speak. The Dow ended the day down. Let me get that. The Dow ended the day down 424 points. The S&P, let me get that number over here. The S&P closed down 35 3/4 points. The NASDAQ really got hit hard today, down 121 1/4 points. And the Russell actually fared relatively well in the great scheme of things, but still closed down just under 9 points, which is it's a pretty decent down day for the Russell. But in the great scheme of things, a lot of pressure came into the market today, forcing prices lower. And right about in, right about this area here, I started recording the market live. So I've got about 12 minutes or so where I've recorded the market live session, and I don't have my my face in the video, which some of you might enjoy more than others, but I do have audio, and I basically give a play-by-play as the market is moving lower, and I also look at some stocks. So without further ado, I am going to go ahead and get that started. So sit back and we'll get a little bit of live market action going here. All right, here we go. All right, good afternoon, everybody. And this is actually live market action coming to you at 12:33 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. So we've got about 27 minutes, 26 and a half minutes before the regular session ends, and you can see we have had a definitively down market today, which did find some support at 2616.69 after opening at approximately 2680. So we've had a bit of a free fall today, and we've ripped through several Fibonacci levels. We've taken out the 2664, the 2661, 2657, 2645, 2636, and then, like I said, we found our way down to 2616 and put in a double bottom. And so we've bounced off of that back up to the 2636, which once price moves through a level that is designated as a pseudo support in this case, and when it tries to go back up through it, it presents as resistance, and you can see how price has definitively bounced off of that and is now heading lower as we move into the close. So interest rates have come on the center stage today, specifically in the form of the 10-year Treasury yield, which went up to 3.001 for a moment and bounced kind of off of that high, went back under 3. But I think the specter of it being there and possibly even going higher or just hanging out in this range has spooked the market and has basically created a backdrop or an underpinning or whatever you want to call it for this market to go lower. Now, Google's earnings last night were a beat, but Google is just getting shellacked today. It's down $58. And then let's go ahead and take a look at a chart of Google here. And let me get rid of this drawing. Now, this is a chart of the VIX. Since I've got the VIX up here, this is a daily chart, and we look at this chart every day. You can see how it has absolutely launched back up to the upside. Now, we haven't gotten a parabolic SAR dot underneath price yet, so we haven't developed a buy signal yet in the VIX, but this kind of a move higher in the VIX will oftentimes be a precursor to higher moves in the VIX, which means, of course, lower prices in the indexes or the broader market, as it were. So we did get a high print today of, did we get up above 20? No, our high print was 1966. Right now we're at 1875. So we've kind of accelerated to the upside in the VIX. So the VIX is definitely playing along with the broader market. But let's go ahead and get back to matters at hand here. Take a look at Google. Now, Google, like I said, had a very nice beat. And if you recall, we looked at the 15-minute chart last night, and it catapulted up to $1,124 a share. Well, that was about $110 ago now. It's currently trading at about $10.15. And you can see this candle is just absolutely horrific looking. This is the 200 period moving average, 200-day moving average in this case, because this is the daily chart. Google has once again found its way underneath the 200 period moving average, and there is a sell signal out of the parabolic SAR indicator. Google could go much lower. Bottom line here. This is beginning to shape up to be potentially the first move of a revisiting of the February lows. But let's go ahead and take a look at Amazon, which is also getting absolutely crushed today. It was down over $60. Yes, 60 at one time today. And currently it is down, it's down $60 right now at $14.57 and change. Just an atrocious sell-off happening in tech. Now, Amazon has never even been close to the 200-day moving average. And as you recall, Amazon does report its earnings day after tomorrow. Now, I did mention yesterday that I was long Amazon and was looking to keep my position until earnings. Well, this morning, a couple of different things caught my attention, not the least of which was a report from one of the members of my trading room. And I put her in the category of brilliant, no less than. And she said, well, it looks like the S&P could drop about 60 points today. And we are currently down about 47.5 points, and we have been down as much as 55 points. So when you have someone who you trade with, who you trust, has proven themselves to be somewhat of a market seer of sorts, you pay attention to what they say. I basically got out of all of my longs this morning. So I've got a lot of cash. The other thing is we do have a sell signal on a parabolic SAR indicator in Amazon now as well. Now, will this 100% symmetry support hold Amazon's price up? I have no idea. 14.56.19. This feels like the beginning of a bigger move to me, but we'll find out more tomorrow. Now, we do have some earnings reports tonight, which I don't think are of too major or dramatic of import, but I think anything at this point is going to have a bearing on the market. Basically, what's happening at this point is companies are reporting their earnings, and I heard it said today on CNBC that higher earnings or better earnings were the expectation for this earnings season, and so they're already baked into the price of the market. So basically what we have here is when companies report their earnings, we have a buy on the rumor, sell on the news dynamic. So today, because Google reported last night, Caterpillar and a bunch of other Dow names also reported tonight, or reported this morning before the open, and had nice beats, but are now just getting sold big time. And this is Caterpillar. This was one of them. Caterpillar was up over $5 in the pre-market, and you can see it is just getting creamed. One of the biggest one-day moves in Caterpillar in a very long time, as you can see by the size of this candle. In fact, this is a daily chart that goes back 6 months, and I don't even see a candle that comes close. Dare I say, can't hold a candle to this candle. Just some really, really ugly price action today. Facebook is down $7.15. And Microsoft is even having a rough day today, down $2.50. I would almost say that's a buy signal for Microsoft, but I'm not trusting anything in this market right now. Netflix is down $13.55. Let's take a look at Netflix. So all of FANG is in the red today. So big move down. We got a gap fill. We got an almost gap fill yesterday. Well, we have a gap fill today. And as you can see, it's beginning to become a consistent component of this price action, where we're getting the parabolic SAR indicator to signal sell signals throughout today's action. So in the great scheme of things, we're definitely setting up for some not so good price action if you are bullish on this market. Now, the VIX has, as I showed you, gone up rather dramatically. The VXX is up $2.53. The UVXY is up $1.39, and the SVXY is down 36 cents. Those are the volatility instruments that I watch and follow and even trade when the circumstances avail themselves. The forward / VX, which is the VIX futures, are up $1.22. So not quite keeping pace with the VIX itself, which is up $2.42. But that's a story for another day. I should get Steve on here to explain about that. All right, so we're continuing to get sold into the close here, which is part and parcel of what I was expecting, given the fact that we could not move through 26.36 on the way up on this latest attempt to go higher. So, like I said, a double bottom at 26.16, a bounce higher to 26.36, a little pop above, but then a comeback down. If the price action stays above 26.16, that's actually a win for the bulls today. I believe that we have a very good chance of moving down to this 100% symmetry resistance at 25.94, basically 25.94 and a half. The way that this day has gone, I'm actually surprised that we got this bounce higher. So we'll see what happens. But right now, we are coming down. The Dow is down 536 points. The NASDAQ is down 154.5 points. Let's take a look at the S&P here. The S&P is down 49.25 points. And the Russell 2000 is down 13.5 plus points. So the Russell is actually the strongest of all the indexes, but nothing is spared today, I'm afraid. So as we look into the close, we've got about 15 minutes left. I will close out this live session and add a post live session commentary like I do normally during the day, or after the close, I guess I should say, and we'll just bring them both together. So, at any rate, trade safe if you choose to trade at all, and take care. All right, so that was the live session. That obviously didn't play out into the close as I initially had originally expected it to. As you can see, that when I closed out the live session, price action was hanging out down here. And as I mentioned, I was looking for price to continue lower, which it did not do. We had a rather decent move to the upside in the last 15 minutes of the regular session, and it held up there pretty well in the final 15. And like I said in the pre-live recording that I did, it does look like it's trying to go a little bit higher here. So we don't know what's going to happen, obviously, but there's a lot of downside pressure in this market still. And the way that things have been playing out is becoming thematic. And when themes begin to develop in the financial markets, they seem to play out in a semi-elongated format. In other words, what I'm getting at specifically is there appears to be a sell on the news dynamic that has been playing out with earnings. And so, as such, it is reasonable to make an assumption that as we move through this week and we get earnings reports, the market will get sold on those reports. And we have some very big companies coming up, as I've mentioned: Amazon, Microsoft, Facebook. Those are three pretty big companies, and there's other ones as well, but those are the ones that will make a difference and make this market move in a big way. And if we get sold on all of those companies' earnings reports, that's going to cause some rather significant downside. So I'm not necessarily expecting that, but I am going to remain in a cash position throughout the rest of this week, except for my hedge. Now, why would you hold a hedge if you didn't have any long positions? Because my hedge is also a trade. Yes, it protects my long positions when my positions are on, but in and of itself, it's also a position. It's a trade. And when the market moves lower, that position becomes more valuable. It becomes more profitable. And my thesis on this market this week is that we will go lower. So I will be keeping on my hedge, and I may start nibbling to the long side by going short volatility and maybe going long the indexes, specifically the DIA, the Dow ETF. I'm not interested in any individual stocks right now. I'm not interested in Amazon. I'm not interested in Boeing. I'm not interested in Netflix. Nothing. Not a thing. As a matter of fact, on the subject of Boeing also reports tomorrow morning before the open. So that's a big one. So that's about it for tonight. Just kind of looking around. Actually, let's take a real quick look at Boeing, just so we can say we did. And Boeing had a pretty rough day today as well. And, like I said, there was really nothing spared per se. It looks like Lululemon was up 26 cents. But here's Boeing. Boeing ended the day down $9.78. Let me get this chart over here. There it is. And yeah, you can see how it just absolutely got crushed. I mean, just like everything else. So at any rate, that's today's market, and that's where we're at. So trade safe, trade what you see if you choose to trade at all. Good night and good trading.